In a world surrounded by franchises, reboots, and shared universes, an elite team of podcasters will risk body and soul to investigate the depths of intellectual properties, one multiverse, subgenre, and trend at a time. Who are we? We're the IP Squad. Welcome back to the IP Squad and our continuing investigation into films based on pulp and comic strip heroes. I'm John Campbell. With me for this investigation, of course, are the Jones Boys.
Hello.
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 I
don't want to talk over anybody.
I wasn't trying to cross talk.
Oh man, we get one note. We get one note about crosstalk, and now it's going to be the most timid podcast.
That's all I ever think about.
Yeah,
I'll just raise my hand.
Yeah. Yes, Brendan. Well, you are the rule follower of the two of you, of course, lest we forget.
Right. Well, you know, it's now, John. I know you get a lot of flack.
Yes.
From the city council, the mayor.
I just got off the phone
with
the mayor.
Hell, I heard the governor was on the phone screaming at you last week.
Yeah.
We get results, even
That's
if sometimes we have to go against the book.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're going to be going against the book on this because, Brendan, I think this has gone against some source material. Where it's 1997, and it's Prince Valiant. What is this? We've moved full circle back to where we started. Prince Valiant's back.
All I can say is can I read you guys the text message I got this morning?
Sure.
Is it from Robert Wagner?
Yeah.
Not from Robert Wagner.
It says I didn't do it. What?
Okay. It says, hey, Brendan, just heard the news. So very sorry. Thoughts and prayers. And it's literally signed Ron Perlman.
Wow.
He heard that I had to watch this movie, and he reached out. And here's another one. This one followed pretty quick.
Oh, I think I know who this one's from.
Brendan, it's never gonna happen. Katherine Heigl. So that
was not what I was expecting to hear from one Warwick Davis, but okay, all right, yeah.
Warwick Davis and I are on the outs, and he knows what he did.
This didn't create. Yeah.
Is that why you called me up at 3 a.m. drunk?
Yeah.
No. That's it. Yeah, you're often getting.
He called me up at 3 a.m, but there it's noon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
and it wasn't about Prince Valiant. It was just him.
No, it was about all kinds of stuff. He's got
hot take on this one, I guess, from me. I didn't like this movie.
That's not a hot take.
No,
these are going to be the coldest take.
It's a bad movie. It's a bad movie. This is bad.
Oh my God.
This is garbage. This is literal hot garbage. I put a thermometer in it. It melted. That's how hot the garbage was.
John, I know we'll probably get to what Warwick Davis had to say about
I was going to say because Warwick did not like this movie.
I'm gonna say my hot take.
Yeah,
is that what Davis is saying makes sense. It also makes sense that the film was taken away from the director and recut.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I would watch these action sequences, and it was literally like great shot, shit shot, great shot, shit shot, over and over and over again, to where you just like, okay, did two different people direct this, or maybe it was just the director being drunk one day and
this movie is 63 minutes, right? It's one of the shortest things we've ever done.
I think it's 91 is the official 91 minutes.
Yeah. But it feels like a pilot.
Yeah, it does. It does. It feels exactly. Even the ending has a very like.
I stopped it I couldn't watch it all the way.
No,
through.
I
mean,
so you stopped watching at 63 minutes.
I literally no, actually, I remember pausing it the first time, and I was only 25 minutes in. I was like, Jesus, I'm so freaking bored. This is horrible.
Oh my God.
It's hard to pay attention.
So I watched it in 2 chunks, and for a movie this short to do that, I was like, good Lord, this thing. This is not even a movie.
Ordinarily, at the beginning of these things, we throw it to Brendan to discuss the origin source.
Yeah.
But we've already covered that.
Yeah. You can go back.
The Robert Wagner one.
Yep.
RJ. So I'd like to talk about Anthony Hitchcock's better movie.
Yeah, because because this one, not that Anthony Hitchcock. No one's here to say Anthony Hitchcock is an amazing filmmaker. However, this is subpar for a guy who does have some level of talent.
Right. And I just kept thinking the fun that I enjoyed in the Waxworks movies, this is sorely missing.
Yeah, I like Sundown.
The Waxworks movies are not great, but I mean, are they better than this? Maybe because they're they've got the batshit energy of dumb genre picture.
Yeah, like a Wynorski or an Olin Ray.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing about this. When he's directing Prince Valiant, I'm thinking, I went into this going, this will be fun trash. And as you bring up, Brendan, I agree. I had to force myself to pay attention to this movie because it is so boring. It is so dull. It is so unexciting. Despite the fact it's trying to present itself as isn't this exciting. You're going, no movie.
Like a zany, it's trying to present itself like a romp, and an adventure romp.
All of a
sudden, and it's not even on a level of like a Richard Chamberlain's King Solomon's Mines.
No, it doesn't have any of the fun of that. As dumb as those movies are,
or Wayne Crawford is Jake Speed.
Jake Speed comes up on this show more than I think anyone would expect.
I will refer to this quite often throughout the run of this show.
I don't think we'll be covering it this season, Robin, but I know
someday
your love of it.
I'll find a way to get Jake Speed on the show.
My God. Patreon subscribers, it's actually at a higher tier, so you'd really have to bump up what you're already paying for that particular episode.
But yeah, this guy, I mean, and yes, as you talk about, Robin, this was taken from him. As he said, and the movie was recut by German producers. Oh boy, the Germans are at it again, folks.
Yeah,
man,
they needed to invade
Yeah.
and conquer this terrifying, chaotic production.
I will say they made the trains run on time.
Yeah.
And they tried to do something. Yeah. They tried to do something with this.
Because the thing about this is, like, there are pieces. I mean, I don't think they had a lot of money. I think that's a big problem on this movie. They're trying to make an epic for nothing. And I think, the TV pilot feeling is exactly what if this was a USA Network's Prince Valiant show, I'd be like, oh, pretty good actually for a cable channel.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would have been, after Hercules and Xena were popular, there were other shows. This would have been like that.
I'm actually surprised they didn't try to do a Prince Valiant in that vein at that time. But this is that.
See that.
But because I'll say though, like, they've got a lot of good people in it that are just wasted.
Yes,
they've got a lot of good people in it, but even they are doing bad work. That's the problem. Is that I mean, we love our Udo Kier.
Oh, I was going to say this.
Oh my God,
Brendan! This is everyone who showed up in this. I had to go. Is this a Meet the Monsters movie? Because I think all of these people have been in multiple movies over on Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters.
Yeah, but here Udo Kier, I don't know if he got any direction. I will never be able to erase from my mind. Hold on, Robin.
Yeah,
I will never be able to erase from my mind the scene of Slygon being handed Excalibur. And him going, ha.
Yes. Ooh, yes. That's exactly what I thought you were going to do. That's exactly the scene I was thinking of was Udo Kier only comes alive when he's swinging that sword around.
Yeah.
It goes on for 17
I kept thinking,
minutes.
and those extras jumping back or away, I don't think they're acting. I think they honestly thought he was going to try to stab.
Well, he's not making savage. It looks like he's like 6 years old.
Yeah.
I kind of like that, though. That's kind of fun to me. That he's like, well, this guy's been trying to get Excalibur, and he finally got it, and he's going to enjoy it for a little bit.
But he's enjoying it like a child. It's not like, now I rule the world. Instead, he's like going, whew.
It's indicative of the tone of this movie. I have no idea.
All over the place.
There are times that it is trying to be very serious. There are times it is trying to be arch, and then there are times it's trying to outright be goofy.
Stephen Moyer, our Prince Valiant,
who is a much better choice than Wagner.
Agreed.
I mean,
he's
he's not good here.
Well, but
and
I mean,
his accent comes and goes. You've got Katherine Heigl, who's still very new.
Hold on, what are you talking about? His real accent comes and goes? He's a British man.
Did you not watch the movie where his accent is here and it's there?
I didn't.
He sounds
I thought that
British.
I did not catch
Stephen
that.
Moyer is actually Irish, and so I have to side with the other Jones on
well,
this.
I have his IMDb open here, where he was born and raised in Essex, fellas.
Oh,
well, regardless of where he was born,
I did not pick
with
this up.
your ears to him talking.
Okay,
his accent is all over a map,
and
not only of the UK. Sometimes his accent is weirdly non-UK and almost American.
I did not hear that.
I would also propose that because a lot of the post-production on this, the sound sync is so weird.
That also
it's possible that somebody else was dubbing his voice.
The entire movie is ADR.
God. No, that it is painful at times. And because the thing I was going to bring up is then you cast very American Katherine Heigl, who's not even.
And she occasionally tries some British.
It's a Carrie Fisher level of. Some scenes and then forget it in other ones.
Yep.
Yeah, and then but you've got people from all over the place, because then the guy who's kind of going for it here is Thomas Kretschmann, right? He's the most engaged of this group. I don't know what movie he's in. I don't think it fits with the other ones.
Yeah,
but he's the only one who's like.
But
he's the only one who's like, okay, I'm gonna bring something to this.
I'll tell you
like
this.
Kretschmann.
My favorite scene of him in it
Mm-hmm.
is there is something going on, like something. Anthony Hickox really likes the big face right up in the lens, and then something going on way back in the deep background. And at one point, there was some dude watching for danger or something in the throne room. They have Excalibur. Kretschmann is sitting way far in the background with Excalibur on a throne.
Yeah,
and he's got like his pal worshiping his feet.
I did.
Well, I mean,
that's part of the tone problem, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they break one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to spoil a story for those who haven't seen the movie, but
don't spoil
it. The bad folks from Thule, have broken into King Arthur, Camelot. They've broken into his throne room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. What kind of security is this? King Arthur just leaves Excalibur just propped up against a thing.
It'll be fine. They make it seem like everybody's out watching the jousting tournament, so just no one's in the castle.
No one's there. They break in, they get the sword, and this is like a really bad heist because they get the sword, no one's caught them, but then they just hang around doing exactly what Robin just brought up. They're like play acting.
Yeah.
If they had camera phones, they'd be taking selfies and stuff.
Get
a picture of me with the. By the way, can I ask a very important question?
Yes.
What the hell did the Book of Merlin's spells have to do with any of
I don't know. They make a point of showing them
the very opening of the movie is Morgan Le Fay digging up Merlin's grave, and then you also have to go, Merlin's dead? And Arthur's still on the throne? Weird. But anyway, they dig up Merlin's grave. he has a metal skull cap like from Excalibur, which is a knowing wink, because in no other representation of Merlin does he have a little metal skull cap. But anyway, so they dig up his corpse, they steal his book of spells, which nice enough has his name on it, in case you were not sure whose book of
Merlin.
spells it
Well,
is.
a lot of people had books of spells, Brendan. If you don't want to get that confused.
Yeah, you want to make sure you get the right one. I mean, maybe
exactly.
Merlin borrowed somebody else's book of
And then Joanna Lumley, who I felt bad for.
Another very talented person in this movie. I can't believe.
I know.
It's
You're
crazy.
not telling me anything I don't know.
No, that's the thing that's so weird is it's so bad.
And she holds it up and she's like going, "At last, ah, ha, 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 lightning is striking," and it'll never come back. There's absolutely nothing. And she goes out like a punk.
Yeah.
No, they do a bit with it with Udo Kier at some point where he's got, now I have the spells or whatever, and it's just
really good.
It reminds me of that is it the Christopher Lee Count Dracula movie that has why am I
you okay?
Oh, not Klaus Kinski.
Are you having
Jesus Christ?
Satanic Rites of Dracula?
No, I think it's the Count Dracula. It's the Jess Franco one. Where they use Klaus Kinski as Renfield, and he's boring. Yeah. That's kind of what I felt about this, where I'm like, you have a bunch of interesting people who can really bring it, and you're asking them not to. Like Joanna Lumley,
or you're leaving them to their own devices.
That's
So all of a sudden, you've got a Kretschmann having a dude worship his foot.
That's what. Yeah, you have that sort of thing, or like the entirety of the buddy movie between Perlman and Warwick Davis, where you're just like, what is it? I kind of want to see that movie instead.
All I was thinking, and guys, this is going on a theme that started before we started recording. It felt like that Hickox wanted to duplicate the magic that was David Rappaport and Clancy Brown in The Pride.
Yeah, very much so.
You know,
but those
big guy, little
even
guy,
Ron Perlman's character, who is from the comic strip. I mean. You're sitting there going like, well, if you didn't know that and you're watching this movie, we still don't know who he is really by the end of the movie.
No.
You're like, what is his deal? And who is he? Why did he act like an asshole? And then he's his friend. And then Warwick Davis out of nowhere, just because I guess they needed a little guy, and Warwick Davis delivers Warwick Davis.
I mean, they're like, both
but what's
trying.
the thing? Yeah, and now they're a goofy pal team. You know,
it does seem like that, where they're just like, is that our thing in this movie? Is this
what's his name? The knight that he jousted with at the beginning of the movie. All of a sudden, they're a buddy cop.
Oh, that's our buddy Zach Galligan.
Well. No, Zach Galligan.
No.
Oh no,
okay.
he's the other one. Okay, wait.
I clocked that one.
All right, wait. Who's the other one then?
No, that's Prince Arn, the one that Elaine, or by the way, they kept changing the pronunciation of her name all the way through the movie.
Okay, Prince Arn.
She was supposed to
Ben Pullen. Ben Pullen is that actor.
And Prince Arn, I believe,
he's from the comics.
What is from the comics? But wasn't that James Mason's character in
James Mason? Maybe so.
Let me look it up here.
Yes, maybe.
No, I don't. Yeah. I don't think that's right.
Okay, maybe that's not right.
Hold on here. James Mason played.
And Pat Boone.
He played Sir Brack.
Sir Brack.
There you
go. They'll never know that I am secretly the Black Knight. And I will use my sword.
Lolita.
And I will swing it quite clumsily.
Lolita, you
other man.
That's the problem.
His sword.
Do you know a man named Claire Quilty?
Yeah, I do like the idea that he was.
You were supposed to go to piano lessons, but you've been hanging out with boys, haven't you, Lolita?
I told you, Lolita, no boy.
I love the idea that Mason would have been doing press for Prince Valiant, going, pay attention, there's a big twist about who the Black Knight in the movie is. You'll never see it coming.
I just, in the case of James Mason, working actor, and he brought what he can do to that movie, which we famously weren't very hot on either.
No, we still haven't gotten a good Prince Valiant movie.
People stop me on the street and go, "Really? Yeah, we're pretty harsh on Prince."
Because I will say that was better than this, but still
I know I
suffered
owe them
from problems.
an apology.
Well, I don't know. I still stand by that one is also boring.
No,
in a different way.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not as embarrassingly
it's not good,
bad.
but it's consistent in tone.
Yes, that's what it has.
Executed with a professionalism.
Yes,
that
this
perhaps
thing made me. Okay, the quasi animated interstitials.
What did you think of that?
That's a take. And I'm sitting there going, all right. Also, if you're going to use during the credits, we have seen this done often.
Oh, Flash Gordon
in the movie.
Yeah,
Flash Gordon, where you actually call back.
Didn't Brenda
to
Starr do it too?
Source material. What?
Didn't Brenda Starr do it as well?
Yes, it had some.
Yeah.
Because famously, the artist ends up in the story.
Yeah, as we anyway, the first part of that movie.
But this thing, it doesn't help you if your movie looks like crap, and you have Hal Foster, unbelievable art.
Well,
then you're instantly like you end up and you're like, oh,
yeah. And
this is what we're getting. Oh,
that was my hot take about the animation sequences was they didn't even get really the style of Hal Foster down very well.
There were some still shots where it was like
it's just the opening titles,
where the castle or something they literally lifted.
Yes.
But anytime they animated a human, you're like, oh, that's not Hal Foster.
No, it wasn't.
Well, and the other thing is, every time they did it, my only thought was, we're saving money. Because it's always like, we're going to get on a ship and cross the ocean. Oh, we can't film that. We'll animate it and then try to hide it by going, oh, look, we're doing the comic thing. But I'm going, no, I see you movie.
The Irish co-production is that Ireland has a great generation after generation of animators that was started by Don Bluth moving his studios over there in the 80s. And all of these Irish animators came out of that. And so between the tax credits and the talent pool you have there, a lot of animation is sent out to Ireland.
This whole movie might as well be called Tax Credits the movie. I mean, really, like there you can you see this every once in a while.
It starts by saying it's a German.
Yes,
but this is a German, Scottish, something about like film production.
Yeah,
they do a multinational thing at the beginning, and you're like, that's a good sign.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a sign of trouble, and you're like, I can't even. Yeah. There's too many logos on the screen right now. I don't know.
Right.
At the very beginning, the castle location, which is a real castle, looks good.
Yes,
and some of the costuming generally is quite good.
Sure,
but you immediately realize I'm in a shit show because. Direction's awful. Action choreography is
terrible.
Awful.
And a lot of the shots don't match.
Yes, and the acting is not good, even from people who we know are good.
Pretty much everyone in this is someone I've seen be good in other stuff. Basically, all the actors.
Right.
It's really weird, but they're all bad here.
And what did you think about the extended cameo from the director?
Oh man.
The best performance in the movie. Oh my god!
Yeah. For a long time, every time I didn't know that till I looked at the IMDb after it. But
you didn't immediately go, "That's Tony Hickox right there."
No, no. But I'm watching the movie and sitting there going, I was like, Gawain's a big character and a big part. Why have they cast a really charisma, non-existent person who's actually kind of odd looking too? I'm like, is he albino? What's with this weird wispy mustache and the blonde hair? And I just couldn't. I was like, why did this guy get the part of Gawain? And then I see, it's the director.
And I will say, basically all of his acting credits are in the movies he directed.
Well, good.
Did you like the? How'd you like the Batman getting into his uniform-esque shots and montage of putting on the knight's armor for Valiant?
I mean, that could have worked.
One thing I will say is that
it's not a bad impulse.
Logistically, you can't do that.
Well, but I'm willing to let that slide had it work.
Really? You cannot put on a suit of armor by yourself.
I don't. But if the scene following had been cool, I would have been like, yeah, it would have.
Well, at least the scene after it, they did the historically accurate thing of they had to hoist him up to put him on the horse. That's what they did.
Right.
But yeah, all that stuff
But it's
dumb.
a comic book. I mean, I'm willing to let that slide. If any of this historically accurate, I'm not looking for necessarily, because
I will say
fantasy.
Hal Foster, other than some big creatures at the beginning, we brought this up. A lot of the fantasy stuff that ever happened in Prince Valiant was like in the first 5 years, and then he was like, fantasy's not really my bag, and then it just became medieval, knights and stuff. Yeah. So this has giant alligators that we'll need to get to. By the way, Jesus. I'll say this. Was there a moment for you two guys, a particular scene that suddenly is on screen where he went, oh no? Because there was one for me.
I mean, honestly, it might have been that throne room heist.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Katherine Hagel, the various, it was probably every scene where her character was given some sort of agency, and yet she, as an actress, couldn't.
Yeah.
It was like the thing of I want to train as a knight. Well,
I respect
that
the
was
impulse.
Their slight, like we have to make this character not just the damsel.
Which I respect.
Well, you might
that
work
idea.
a little harder.
Yeah, that's it exactly. And also,
actually, I liked her in the armor. I was like, good look on you, Catherine.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
sure,
she's
but it's
stunning, of course.
But
no, of course,
convincing. It was all.
Here was my
miscast.
Here was my scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, he was trying to save her for perhaps the 18th time in the film.
Yeah,
sure.
And oh no, he ends up in the water. She ends up on the shore, and she's like, "Oh, I've lost him. He's dead."
Yeah.
Right.
Cut to, we're underwater, and it's suddenly bed knobs and broomsticks.
Yeah.
It looks like a 60s live-action Disney thing, and not a serious one. That bit with him walking across the lake bottom.
And the bubbling coming out of the helmet.
No, I just went, oh no.
Yeah,
oh, no.
I kept thinking about there's
so bad.
There's a Tony Randall late 60s movie called Hello Down There.
Hello Down There.
There you go.
And every underwater shot was that dude walking in nice armor.
Yeah, actually,
it was the same kind of thing.
Why did they leave it in? You could have just shown him surfacing.
I don't. Yeah, it's
and it would have been a better
the baffling tone. Yeah, it further adds to the baffling tone choices. Just truly.
There's a couple of effectsy things that are so like throwback 60s live action Disney that you just sit there going, I saw one of the IMDb reviewers, and it might be the person you'll quote for highs and lows. But one of them is basically saying it's like nice to know that all the terrible goofy ass fantasy filmmaking of the 80s is alive and well in the 90s with this guy. Like bad German and Spanish Conan knockoffs. Literally, this looks like Ator the Fighting Eagle. This is just garbage.
Well, because you talk about the opening shots, they did go find a real castle, and there's a couple moments where you're like, oh yeah, but it's all stuff they lucked into, right? It's all stuff like they didn't build any of this, but they're out in. I think some of it was shot in Wales. As well,
sure.
And so you do get, there are moments where you're like, oh, that looks nice, and then it's immediately followed by one of the worst looking scenes you've ever, in anything. It's
it goes back
so
to
inconsistent.
Like, nice shot, crap shot.
I will say
nice
though,
shot,
the movie being recut without Hickox, what Hickox said was missing. I'm not sure we would have liked more, because he's like, oh, there was more establishment of the comedy tone that was lost, because the comedy would have made a lot more sense had you had my cuts that would have grounded it more in comedy, which I'm like, that's not a good thing.
That's not a good thing, nor is it what anyone was asking for.
But
and
at least
I will
it would have
say
added consistency,
would
maybe
help to establish the comedic tone. Then I'm sitting there going, well, where in what we got is your supposed comic tone? Because I can't find any. And anytime they're trying to do like a wink, it's awful and stupid.
Yeah.
And apparently,
no, I kept
religious
imagining
stuff,
Anthony Hickox a few years later, maybe 2 or 3.
Yep.
Going to the movie
Realizing
theater
he made a
and
terrible
seeing Brian Helgeland's A Knight's Tale and going, this is exactly what I was trying to do. Why didn't they let me just do this?
Why didn't they
movie.
license some Queen music that I could have used in Prince Valiant?
We'll talk about a movie that has no interest in like historical stuff, but what a consistent tone! What a vision that movie has!
Yeah,
what I love that movie so much. It's legitimate.
For half a second, I thought you'd bounce back to Prince Valiant. I was like, "Where's he going with this?"
No, I'm talking about that's a movie that just is like this is I've got a take here, and it's so consistently
I've got a take,
and I love
consistent.
that movie.
Right,
that's a great movie.
Watch
that instead. Watch that instead of this for sure.
The star of that talented young man. I hope to see him out of this stuff.
Now you brought it down.
Why? What?
Oh no,
Brandon.
The star of this.
You don't like Alan Tudyk?
Yeah, that guy's great.
No, and that's also where I first saw Paul Bettany and have been a massive fan ever since. That guy's,
of course.
They talk about getting a great cast of actors and using them very well. I will
Laura
say,
Fraser, first thing I ever saw her in.
Yep. Everybody's great in that movie. Everybody's great in that movie. Rufus Sewell, great bad guy in it too. I just got to say though, good for Stephen Moyer that this didn't end his career because this is very early for him. This should by all rights this should have been it for him.
We have seen, by the way, the great Ron Perlman in plenty of Drek.
Oh my God! Across all the shows I've done, I've seen a lot of Perlman, and that guy. Talk about a guy who's Teflon.
I kept thinking about Clancy Brown man, if you can't get Perlman, Clancy Brown.
Actually, I'm surprised they're not both in this.
You're in trouble.
If Clancy Brown had shown up in this, I would not have been surprised either. They have similar careers. These guys are working actors. They've been in crap. They've been in amazing stuff, and they're always there. They're I mentioned this on the last season of IP Squad when we were doing Stephen King. There was a great story that Steven Weber told. When he was on the Stephen King cast, talking about running into Ron Perlman when he was shooting, I think it was Blood Rain that we did over on Meet the Monsters. And he ran into him and he goes, "What are you doing shooting?" Weber asked Perlman, "What are you doing shooting this Uwe Boll movie in Bulgaria?" And he just said, "Steven, my wife likes shoes." And I love that because that's just like Perlman's just a guy who's like, this is my job. I kind of like
a lot of the great character actors,
where it's just like I go to work.
Sometimes that's the thing is they see it in a different light than the movie stars, and their light is.
Or you're Gene Hackman, or you're Michael Caine.
Yeah, and I am a working actor.
I remember there was
just give me the gig.
I probably referenced this before on some other podcast, but I remember reading an interview with Malcolm McDowell maybe 5 years ago, where that's what he said. He goes, "I go to work. I don't care. I go home and I spend time with my family. I need money for that. What I do at work, if it's a good script, awesome. If it's not, I just go to work."
What was that? Was that the Russell McKay mummy thing that we saw him in for our thing?
Oh yeah.
No,
that was bad.
Yeah,
that was bad.
No, and he's been in a lot of shit, but it's just like, and
he's
also,
done a lot of shit.
But the thing about guys like, oh God, yeah, that mummy thing was horrible. And I think,
or John Hurt
sat
was
the whole
same
John
way.
Hurt. But these guys, the thing about all these guys is that never hurts the career. Nobody's not gonna then put all these guys in something of massive merit that's going to be huge because they're good. That's the thing that we talk about. These guys aren't damaged by these roles, really.
Right. You aren't going to not cast John Hurt and White Mischief just because you saw him in From the Hip.
Yeah, I mean,
there you go. Wow.
I mean, the ultimate example, right, is
digging it up.
Michael Caine can't accept his Oscar because he's filming Jaws 4. Like it is. That's the encapsulation of the career.
Yeah.
Just like, he can
I wish I could be there, but I'm currently on a boat. I remember the video that he sent where he's literally on a boat and he's like, well, I'm in the Bahamas. I'm currently doing Jaws 4, but what an honor. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And then he can still be Alfred years later. You know, it's just like the guy These guys are, Ron Perlman was in no way, because he was on to the next thing. After he was done here, he went on to whatever, right after this. Right. And maybe it was good. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Here's what else, jumping back to Prince Valiant.
Yeah.
There are threads here. I mean, it isn't really on source material, but there are threads here that they are adapting in a very loose manner. So,
very loose.
You've got the whole, I didn't know this. Makes it he's the orphan type hero who doesn't know that he was originally the prince of the good king of the Thules. And this whole thing about the Red Stallion returns, like, okay, chosen one fantasy, sure, but basically this is he's already Gawain's vassal, and he's obviously quite good at knighting, and he takes Gawain's part in the
because Gawain's a drunken fool.
While the jousting is happening, well, he wasn't drunken. He just got his head smacked in. He's like, "Whoa!"
Oh yeah.
That's my impression.
No, the John, the director was drunk.
Yeah. You're getting
I was gonna say. I think maybe yeah.
But basically, Elaine sees him. She's all for him. While this is going on, Excalibur is stolen. This is crafty. The Thules dress up like Scotsmen to steal Excalibur, therefore trying to start a war.
That's the big thing in this movie. Yeah.
And the Thules, they're Vikings. This movie decided to course correct from the first one. In the comic strip, they are traditional Vikings that we are used to, with horned helmets, all that stuff.
I was going to say,
in the 1954 movie, they went way overboard with the horned helmets.
We talked about that extensively. This movie does distinctly lack horned helmets, or boiling oil was the other one that was big in the 54.
Also, this one, but that is both good and bad thing. If you take away iconography like that, sometimes you're like, wait, are they currently in Britain or Thule?
Well, that's the thing too. Where
are
it's
these
like,
good or bad guys?
I can't
quite tell.
Is there a middle ground on horned helmets?
Yeah. Can we have maybe just the beards and mustaches, because they didn't even have that, or the braided beards.
Give me the comics, just the little horns. They don't have to be the big crazy
little horns,
cartoon.
tiny horns.
Just give me something.
Daredevil horns.
I will say it is. I mean, I wasn't massively confused, but it is sort of like the Scotsmen, the Vikings, the English, and you're like, yeah, they all kind of do look like it. But
where they switch over, I mean, the English are all going to be knights. They're going to be in that, and that worked in this movie. And then the Thulians, the Vikings,
the Thulians.
They're like, you'll know us because we look like we stepped out of a music video. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lyda Ford. There she is. The woman who gets no name in this movie, but is behind Sligon in every shot, walking around with super teased music video hair. And she's got a staff that spits fire indiscriminately for no good reason.
But as you bring up 80s music video hair, 80s music video hair in 97.
Guys, that she was like a medieval version of the Doof Warrior. You know, you don't need to have a reason to spit fire from your staff.
No, you don't.
Well, actually, that's the thing.
Look around.
That's the thing about
she was the best selling of the action figures.
Oh yeah, by the way, the really successful action figure line from this movie that doesn't exist. The thing I love about this
laser fire spit stick.
We all came into this not knowing about this movie. And everyone I've talked to doesn't know this movie exists. This movie doesn't exist, basically. It's incredible.
I would imagine it was straight to video.
It was straight to video in the U.S. It's correct. It got some foreign theatrical releases, and God help whoever paid to see this. Could you imagine going in a theater and seeing this? Like, he was disappointed.
Well, Warwick Davis did. Again, I read his. I don't think
it's
from his memoir.
Yeah.
You want me to read that now? Since we Here it is.
We've been alluding to it
in his autobiography, "Size Matters Not." Great title. Warwick Davis called the film.
Quote, because he's short.
I get it.
Yeah. There you
right.
Go.
Right. He also did that. He also did that show with Ricky Gervais, "Life's Too Short," if you remember, which was very funny. That Liam Neeson bit in that is the best. Anyway, sorry. He called it, quote, an absolute disaster, which he said premiered, panned, and bombed. And even the wonderful Joanna Lumley, who still managed to put in an amazing performance, very kind, Warwick. She does her best.
She does her best.
She's not phoning it in, but
doing a Disney villain. That's fine.
But he said even she couldn't save it. He blames this. It's interesting. It's one of those things where Hickox blames the producers. He blames on Hickox, who he said, quote, seemed intent on partying all night long and giving roles to his friends. Yeah, that adds up.
I think we have an answer for blonde video lady with fire spitting stick.
Yeah, because I do think it's
Zach Galligan is doing in this movie.
Oh, poor Zach. I mean, I want to like Zach Galligan and stuff.
I do too, but I mean, it was obvious that he's friends with Anthony Hickox. He's been in at least 2 movies he's made before.
Yeah.
I don't think Warwick was too far off on what he was doing.
And you call him War, don't you? Because you guys are pretty tight. You and War.
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 I
believe
you
this
call
is
him
their
War.
5th collaboration.
You call him. Sometimes I would call him Goliath. Just as a fun thing.
Yeah, because kind of
he always.
Sort of that opposite
thing. When War is happy with your jokes and stuff, because he does this thing where he gets up and he walks out of the room. It's amazing.
That's great.
He loved, and you go, he loved it. This was their 5th collaboration, Galligan and Hickox. So
I was thinking he's probably in other films I have not seen.
He's in all the Waxwork movies.
Thank God there's a through.
And lest we forget, of course, Hickox ends up taking over the Hellraiser franchise.
Yes, and also the Warlock.
Oh yeah.
R.I.P. Julian Sands.
Oh man, that one hurt. I love that guy.
He did an erotic thriller with Dolph Lundgren of all people. It's
I can't believe we never got to that one on my straight to video action show that I did.
Yeah, you really missed out, John.
I will say though, since we're talking about that, I used to do, as people know, a show called The Action Shelf where we watched B straight to video action movies. We did watch the Anthony Hickox, I almost said Douglas Hickox, the Anthony Hickox directed Full Eclipse, which is about werewolf cops, and it's a lot better than this movie. It's stupid, but it's infinitely more fun.
But it's consistently stupid.
Yes, it's consistently stupid, but it's a lot of fun because once again they are werewolf cops.
Oh, well, that's what humans need as a movie going public.
Bruce Payne is the villain in that, and he just goes for it. He just goes for it, and it's
Bruce
so much fun.
Payne.
Yeah. By the way, are we surprised that Hickox died sort of young at 64?
No,
I think that he's if anything, I was actually surprised to see he made it to 64 based on the lifestyle.
Yeah, he's a fascinating guy in that he was the son of, and came out of a sort of British filmmaking royalty.
Yeah.
His father's a great editor, and he's got at least one other brother who's an editor as well.
Would have been
and
nice
Hickox
if he had called them.
Fell into directing. It wasn't something he was really planning on doing.
Yeah, I mistakenly called him by his dad's name earlier. His much
Douglas,
more talented father.
You guys stop fighting.
Now.
Who, by the way, his father directed our beloved Theater of Blood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So therein we see.
Yeah. And one of my favorites, Brannigan, which is one of my favorite John Wayne movies. I love Brannigan. Brannigan.
Wow.
Yeah.
The American cop who teams up with the Brits.
It's John Wayne and Richard Attenborough, the pair you didn't know you need.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's a very fun movie.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But yes. No, that's the thing here. Yes, Brendan, the thing about the comic stuff, I was watching, I'm not even a Prince Valiant fan, and I'm going, that's not how that would go.
Right.
I don't even particularly care about the source material, and I'm going, all right, now come on now.
This is not a character that I, worship myself. I just out of
I think we all talked about how boring the comics were
classic historical
last time.
The big names always want to be familiar with.
Yeah.
But Prince Valiant's never spoken to me. That said, anytime you develop a Tarzan movie, Zorro, Prince Valiant, any of these characters that we're doing here on the season or are not covering because it's too big.
Yeah.
But I mean, any of those characters, Shadow, Doc Savage, on, you need to care.
Well,
because the reason you're doing a Prince Valiant movie is that there are decades of people who have loved Prince Valiant. So if you're not going to do the character well, and this guy as a director, maybe he is more invested in waxwork. I've seen a couple, back in the day.
Once again,
maybe he's more invested, but here, this feels like the guy showed up to do the job and doesn't give a flying. Like this feels like it feels like gig work. It doesn't feel like someone who's like
exactly.
That's exactly. I don't expect. Code. We don't expect. We always talk about this when you adapt these characters. You got to find the heart of them, right? You don't have to get lost in the weeds of continuity or stuff like that. But my God, there's just this is such.
Dick Tracy works because there is a deep love and respect for that character, and the ones that we have enjoyed. I think are all done by people who may not be the world's biggest fan, but at least did the research, cared enough to try to nail it. Doc Savage doesn't work because they said there's no way to take it seriously. They thought
baseline appeal of what makes these characters unique, of why there is a fandom around them is sort of that's my big thing is you don't, because actually sometimes, as we know, it can hurt movies sometimes if somebody's too slavish of a fan,
if you're
or
too
devoted.
Yeah, sure.
There's a reason that
Sin City.
Well, I like Sin City.
I think the first one's better than the second one, but my problem with Sin City was I couldn't tell that Robert Rodriguez made it because it moved like a snail.
Yeah,
and I was just like, you don't need to.
I mean, one
could an entire 6 panels worth of a car driving around.
Yeah, it was the criticism of the Snyder Watchmen as well, was that it's just like he's just doing the comic.
He was shooting panels.
And on that one, I always defend. It's just like, well, if he hadn't done that, they would have, strung him up for that too. I think you were doomed going.
Well, it was a no-win situation. But I don't like to give Snyder too much credit because
I don't like to give him too much credit.
Okay. But that's the thing here. Is it does seem like when I hear that the guy's out partying, you're like
right. This I think he put about as much thought into this as he did on that one episode of Pensacola Wings of Gold. It just
or whatever MasterCard commercial he made.
Here I am in Florida. Or
I think
they're shooting this thing.
I think it's amazing that he directed anything after this. It's incredible to me.
Yeah.
By the way, he did. I think he did at least 2 movies with Dolph. It looks like. Because he also did.
You can't just work once with Dolph. Everybody knows that, John.
He's like Pringles.
Actually, this sounds like a joke, but it's actually true. Dolph directs his own stuff now.
Good.
Yeah, Dolph has moved into. Yeah, Dolph has moved.
All right, let's get back to Prince Valiant, or else we'll just keep IMDbing and going. Oh, you look what else he did.
I'm just saying this episode needs to be subtitled. Dolph Lundgren is the Pringles of actors.
We haven't talked about Edward Fox being in this movie. He's slumming it here.
He also fits in a tube.
Edward Fox is slumming it. You're absolutely right.
Slumming it big time.
There's all kinds of people in this.
The Jackal himself is slumming it in this movie.
The guy who was in 3 different James Bond movies.
As
3 different Russians is in this, playing Valiant's father, I guess, or the leader of his particular tribe.
You're talking about Gavin O'Herlihy?
No, not Gavin O'Herlihy.
Well, he was also a Bond guy too.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the dude who played the Russian. I
know who you're
For Your Eyes Only, and
he's not his father. He's like
Walter Gotell,
like the advisor to the father who had
and he says the Red Stallion is returned
to Camelot and take
Walter
care of.
Gotell, who sadly this was his last movie. But yes, you're talking about you're talking about.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, this is how it went out. This is how he went out, folks.
That poor guy.
I don't think he lived. I will say this though. He died right after. I don't think he lived to see this release. So.
That would explain why I didn't get a text message from him this morning.
Yeah. But you're talking about he played General Gogol in a bunch of Bond movies.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Is that he played the Russian in several Bond movies.
Which I like.
Yeah,
that.
he's sitting there in wasn't he in Moonraker?
Yes, he's in.
And he's like going, "Oh, they stole our satellite."
Let's see,
he was
where
a
did
Russian
he
guy
first
in that.
start?
Yeah, he was in For Your Eyes Only, and I think Octopussy too.
He's in. He's in several of the Roger Moores, and he's in both of the Daltons as well.
Good on him.
Yeah.
But anyway, no one comes out of this unscathed.
I think the best.
No one comes out of this alive. Is that what you're about to say?
No one comes out of this alive.
I think the best you can come out of this is like, mostly unharmed, which I think is the case for Perlman. I think there's the least embarrassing.
I think Perlman's. Perlman was probably one of my favorite things in the movie. I thought he was very consistent in what he was doing, and
he's kind of doing a Ron Perlman character.
Dude's
and
a pro.
If you put all of his screen time together, it's about 5 minutes. But at the same time, it's Ron Perlman.
Right.
Yeah. I did look because I was curious. Like, I said, what did he go to next? Alien Resurrection, which, say what you will, is at least a major studio movie. He goes right from this to. Boom! Right over to Alien Resurrection. That once again, that's the Perlman career. He can be in total shit like this, and then I'll be the fourth lead in a major franchise movie too. Why not? Let's do it.
To wrap up Prince Valiant.
Yeah, because there really isn't. It's a short episode because there's not much. There's really not much here. There's no meat on the bone.
One of my favorite things in this, though, is that Prince Valiant has been doing such a darn good job of saving the love of his life and fighting off Morgan Le Fay, who goes out like a punk, like I said.
Oh yeah, not
really
shocked,
dumb death.
Yeah,
really, she gets magic dust sneezed back at her, and it backfires, and then she falls into. It's like, what the hell was that?
She turns into gold, right?
It's a voiceover as when she's a skull. Like, I'll get you.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is this? But anyway.
That's bad, but I mean,
my favorite thing in
Kretschmann gets eaten by a crocodile monster, so
at least that.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that we cut back to Camelot and King Arthur is just like, well, I don't have Excalibur anymore, so
the dream of Camelot is
over. And he goes, I'm gonna assign leadership duties over to one of you guys. Who wants it? Who wants it?
Anybody?
Who wants it? Anybody?
Zach Gallagher. Zach, do you want?
And then Valiant shows up, gives him Excalibur. He's like, "Oh, awesome.
Man, yeah,
thanks,
bro.
Yeah,
hey, thanks,
bro. Very.
Roger
Corman would call that very Freudian.
Yeah.
Without
his phallus.
By the way, though, Brendan, were you excited?
He was less of a man and even less of a king.
Were you excited though to see him in his comics accurate costume at the end?
Sure, it's always I mean, they tried to give it sort of a moment of where he's like going, do you have some armor I could borrow because this one's starting to rust? And then he's got the comics accurate, the blue jerkin. The blue jerkin, by the way, a very little known golden age superhero. He's got the blue jerkin. He's got the red stallion head. He's got the chainmail.
I thought the blue jerkin was Playboy's follow-up to Little Annie Fanny.
That definitely gave
the blue jerkin.
When you said the thing about this feeling like a pilot, that did have that pilot ending where it's like you're going to see him in this costume each and every week now as he goes off on adventures.
Yep. Yeah. And I will say the update of the Page Boy, where they're like going, if we go comic strip accurate, as they tried with Robert Wagner, people will laugh. They don't laugh when he's drawn because it seems to be of a period.
Right.
You put a real actor in something that goofy. So here they did give him the bangs, and he's got kind of a shag to it.
It's one of the few things I'll give approval to in this movie. I think his hair looks good.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. I think
it's a compromise.
I think Moyer could have been a good Prince Valiant in a better movie. That's what I'm saying. I think he's a better choice than Wagner.
He's a better choice.
But there's
I think all of these actors would have been better in a better movie.
Oh, because
I thought they had the balls to kill off Elaine because she's dead for a little bit. By the way, I love the line. I mean, this is terribly written, but where he goes, God, bring her back, because if you don't, you have inherited an enemy in me.
Which actually, I kind of wish the movie
is going to fight God.
Yeah, I kind of want to see that
in the sequel.
I kind of wish that.
But also
in
the comic strip, Elaine did die.
Yeah,
she drowned.
Oh wow!
I didn't expect that to happen here, though.
It was kind of Conan the Barbarian of them to have a line like that.
Yeah. But I wanted the sequel where he fights God. That would have ruled.
I have become your worst enemy, God.
Yeah. No, he's gonna go be a.
Well, I'll get him first. Then I'll be your.
He's like, I got to go to the South and become a Southern gentleman vampire. So.
Yeah. And his Southern accent.
Suki.
Yeah.
Suki. I was made a vampire in the Civil War.
Yeah.
He smoldered like nobody's business on that show.
And he ended up putting a ring on it.
Oh yeah.
He married Suki.
Well, he's no
Suki.
He's no dummy.
He's no dummy.
He is no dummy.
However, she with just one kiss steals all of his power and memories.
Oh no.
For she is also rogue.
Yeah. For everyone is always playing the sum of all the characters they played, obviously.
All the characters she's played.
Let's talk about some highs and lows. Believe it or not, some people like this movie. But we'll start with the lows because that's kind of where we're at.
Lowe's, the hardware store. Let's talk about them. They always have.
We mentioned
Excellent
Gene Hackman earlier. Do you remember Gene Hackman was the voice of Lowe's for a long time?
Voice of Lowe's.
That's right.
Time,
for many years. Yeah.
Okay.
I like that when he and Ving Rhames swapped, and it was Hackman for Arby's. We've got the meat.
We've got
that
the
was
meat.
so weird.
I don't do a Hackman impression, but just the idea of the intensity of
We've got the meat.
We've got the meats. Yeah.
I saw a Romer film once. It was like watching paint dry. Night Moves. Everybody watch Night Moves. Better than Prince Valiant.
Oh my God.
You know why the number 200 me and you, Otis?
Yeah.
It's your way to my IQ.
Yeah.
Otisburg.
I'll go on a limb here. I'll go on a limb here and say, and I think I can stand by this. Every Gene Hackman movie is better than Prince Valiant.
And
he was in some shit.
I'll meet you there, but then I'll offer up loose cannons with Dan.
You know what? My mind went maybe not loose cannons. You had the exact same thought. Maybe not loose cannons. What was he doing? What were either one of them doing in that? Jesus Christ!
I've never seen an actor scowl at the camera so hard because of how much he hates the bullshit.
God damn it! Oh, Hackman, yeah.
All I think it is just maybe I've got 3 more and then I am out.
Talk about a guy who definitely took some paychecks. All right, here we go. Here's the low. This comes to us from Ivia Diana, who titles their review, "It may be from 1997, but their hair is crimped." Well, this really is the worst of the fantasy genre. Every cliche has been employed unapologetically. The acting is horrendous, especially on the part of Princess Eileen. You know what? Heigl's not good in this, but I'm not going to say she's not especially bad in this, though. They're all
of
pretty
the
bad.
major characters, she's doing the worst job.
Randomly, half of the characters have English accents and half have American accents. I would also add, I think there's some other accents in there too, but okay. There are giggling insipid ex-queens who are now part of a harem and a bizarre, gratuitous ass shot of the main villain. I could barely pay attention to the flimsy story. What with all the distractions, this really epitomizes the long dark in the world of fantasy films that made Lord of the Rings such a relief. Finally. And actually, I would say, though, still the fantasy genre has not seen a lot of great movies since Lord of the Rings. But that's just me. Here's my question. Who the hell thought it was a good idea to financially back this movie? That's all in caps. P.S. This has nothing to do.
Germans and Irish, I think.
Yeah, we needed money for things.
Money.
Yeah, don't ask where that money went. P.S. This has nothing to do with the actual story of Prince Valiant. I don't think the writers have ever read it. 1 out of 10 stars.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But here's somebody has a very, very different opinion. A high opinion, if you will.
Wow.
This comes to us from LeDirk. And the title of the review is simply, very good. I really enjoyed watching this well-done movie. It's not too brutal, witty, and has the right dose of humor. Besides, it has a very good cast of well-known actors like Katherine Heigl, the great Joanna Lumley, who was Katherine Heigl, the great she's a pretty lady.
With the lady and the vine.
Yeah, the great Joanna Lumley, who is really wonderful in her role as usual, and Thomas Kretschmann, who is as usual very good and very sexy. I imagine. Yeah. I will say they are confused about something here, so just know that what they're going to say is wrong. It is very well done by director Anthony Hickox, who made such movies as the classic Theater of Blood, starring Vincent Price.
Whoa!
No, his dad did. His dad was dead.
He may have been on set running around.
But I'll particularly disagree with the second. He
played a meth drinker in the.
That was just on set, actually. He was just already in a mask and drinking. It had nothing to do with the movie. But that part is factually wrong. This second part is opinion-wise wrong. And his directing really shines through.
Wow.
Hey, boy. The animated sequences are very well done and give the movie a really nice flair. The only bad performance I could smart was the real short appearance by the rather silly but famous supermodel Marcus Scheckenberg, but that couldn't mar this otherwise really good movie. Its only flaw is that it's somehow too fast-paced sometimes. Otherwise, I can only recommend it. Too fast-paced. I found none of it fast-paced.
No.
I think this guy was too busy looking at the career of Marcus Scheckenberg to pay attention to.
Marcus Scheckenberg, who played the character
of
an
extended
Tiny.
Cameo? Who the hell?
Played the character of Tiny. Who is Tiny in this movie? I don't even know. Yeah. I think he's one of the Vikings.
Maybe
Kretschmann's assistant who plays with his feet.
Maybe. I think he's just one of the guys. He doesn't even look familiar. I clicked on I've never seen this guy.
Well, apparently the guy who wrote that review is Marcus Kletchberg.
Well, Prince Valiant, 1997, not good, folks. But we're gonna stay in the year 1997 for next week, and we're gonna. But I think it's time we take a look at another Robert E. Howard character that's not Conan. We've seen a barbarian. But have we seen a conqueror?
We haven't.
We have not.
That's right, folks. It's time to meet Kull, the Conqueror.
You mean Kull of Atlantis? I think
we're John. I would argue we're culling the bottom of the barrel at this point.
Well, this I will say. This is my big point for this. Will this movie be better than Prince Valiant? It got a theatrical release.
I mean, that's
Sorbo. And also, I will say this right now. I don't remember much because I haven't seen it since. I did see this movie in the theater in 1997. So,
my question to you, John, is: did it give you a sore boner? Thank you. Good night,
I was a big.
Thank you. Good night.
I was a big Sorbo.
Wow.
I was a big Sorbo kid because, of course.
By the way, of the two of us, that's the brother who's the writer, guys.
Yeah, you can really tell.
The one who made that joke.
I just trademarked it.
I'll give you, as always, the tagline here, which is "Courage conquers all."
Oh, also big swords.
Big swords. But yes, I did see this in the theater because at the time, of course, I was a perfect age to be obsessed with Hercules, the Legendary Journeys. And I was like, finally, Sorbo on the big screen.
I
don't
think
I'll
really want to spread it evenly. You want to get Sorbo all the way to the corners.
He's on the big screen.
You couldn't wait for those terrible Christian movies.
Oh man, I know. Yeah,
don't laugh. John has the box set.
Oh yeah, that specifically. We got quite a cast in this one though. We got Tia Carrera, Thomas Ian Griffith.
Quite a cast.
That's quite a cast.
Thomas Ian Griffith, folks. I love Thomas Ian Griffith.
Oh,
very excited by that. Sure. Do not remember this, but pretty excited to see that Harvey Firestein's in it. I need to know what Harvey Firestein is doing in Kull the Conqueror.
Well, Harvey had to pay for another house.
Kull, you got to get a bigger sword. You got to get a bigger sword.
Listen, Cookie, nobody read that script. Okay?
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, Cookie.
Yeah, and of course, Sven Ole Thorsen, who, if you've seen as many straight-to-video action movies I have, you know him. But yes,
you mean the guy who was discovered by Bergman, right?
Yeah, that was him.
He's great. He's great in Persona, man. He's so good. Yeah. I have not seen this movie since 1997, so.
Oh boy!
I am not vouching for it by any stretch of imagination. But and of course, the other thing to keep in mind for it is that this script started as the third Conan movie.
Right.
It was supposed to be Conan the Conqueror.
Is this Danny Bilson and Paul DeMeo?
No, it is Charles Edward Poog. Who wrote?
You apologize. You apologize right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys.
The writer of Psycho 3 and David Cronenberg's The Fly.
And I believe he also co-wrote Matinee with Joe Dante, which is one of my favorite movies.
Yes.
And he's coming off the heat of writing Dragonheart before Kull the Conqueror.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah. I kind of like that.
I'm sure this will be great.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will be great.
Anyway, yeah.
I'm praying it's better than Prince Valiant.
It's Sorbo time, folks. I think it will be better than Prince Valiant only because it's an American studio movie that came out in theaters. So I imagine there'll be some kind of sheen of quality.
Already.
Right? Like, it's just like, they'll at least be like, it'll look better at least, right? Yeah.
The shots will match.
Yeah. And I did actually have the action figures from this movie. So,
the director will not appear in the film. All right. So
I don't believe he does.
Okay.
No. All right. So that'll be next week on the show, but that's going to do it for this week's episode of the IP Squad. Until next week, the case file is closed.